Good day to you all, and welcome to Newscasting Ancient Times. Every week, Mark David Smith and I bring you Brit Hadashah accounts as though they happened today. It's been approximately a week since our traveling evangel, Yeshua, and his faithful followers graced our news reports.
I have to admit, I'm missing our wayfaring liberator just a little bit when he's not in the news. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark David Smith. Yeshua insights such as curious headlines Yeshua insights such curious headlines, and the stories grow on you. I've even thought about finding out where he'll be next and checking it out for myself. They don't sell tickets at Ticketmaster for his events, do they, Sandy?
Very funny. Yeah, I'm not sure he has an agenda or a schedule, or if anyone knows where he'll be next. And I'm pretty sure you don't need a ticket to hear him speak. Better yet, to have him heal you.
That jury is still out, Sandy. Last week, Sandy and I brought you some background information on this person who's dispatched quite the name for himself in the news. Though Sandy and I will eventually spend some time in the field and meet this growing celebrity. This past week, we jetted out of town in Shomron called Shechem.
Well, we learned a few things about last week's report that might have been slightly skewed, and we do want to correct that. But first, we have been afforded the ability, Mark David Smith and I, to meet a woman who had an encounter with Yeshua. Because of this happenstance incident, many people from her town, Shechem, have put their trust in Yeshua. We'll bring you the story that led up to this occurrence right after this.
Sandy and I like to get our reports right. It has come to our attention that when we reported last week that Yeshua and Yochanan the immerser were having an immersing competition. In fact, Yeshua was not the one doing the immersing, but his Talmudim.
Yeshua, his Talmudim, not really sure there's a difference, but in any case, we stand corrected. Now, Mark, it seems that while Yeshua's Talmudim were immersing, Yeshua himself left Yehuda and set out for the Galil. Just outside of Shamron, town called Shechem, lies Yaakov's well. There, at that well, Yeshua met a woman drawing water for her family.
Yes, and Sandy and I met up with her a few days ago to get a better understanding of what did happen during her encounter with Yeshua. She has asked us to keep her name out of the report, so we'll just call her Jane. Jane has been married 5 times. Jane is not married to the man she's living with now. Another point of interest is to why Yeshua talked with her in the first place. Considered by the general populace to be a rabbi, Yeshua is by law forbidden to interact with in any way with a woman, especially one with this background and present standing.
Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by considered by the general populace. Is he a rabbi or not?
Good point, Sandy. In the legitimate Levitical way, I don't know enough of his history to answer that. In that he is a teacher of the law and certainly seems to know the tenets of Torah, the word rabbi fits. For purposes of this report, Yeshua is a rabbi.
Well, Yeshua and this woman apparently met at Yaakov's well. according to the woman, we're calling her Jane, they casually talked about several things, but what stood out to her most of all, though they had never met, he knew her past. She could tell he was traveling and not a local resident, yet he didn't carry any gear, like a pack or rations for a journey. It almost scared her, but in a strange way. Just his presence caused her to have this confidence in this man she had never met. She mentioned that he asked her for a drink of water, but he didn't give her a cup or any kind of container that would hold water. Jane then questioned why a Jew would ask for water from a non Jewish woman. She knew that it was not her place to talk to him. He just made the whole scenario seem like it was no big deal. Yes, and his answer, according to Jane, was, and I quote, "If you knew God's gift, that is who it is saying to you, give me a drink of water, then you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water."
Wow, here we go. This is where this Yeshua character takes a normal everyday meetup and turns it into some spiritual, well, I don't know what to call it. Okay, Sandi, from my notes at this point, Jane continues to question Yeshua, and he answers with, everyone who drinks this water will get thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I will give him will never be thirsty again. On the contrary, the water I give him will become a spring of water inside him, welling up into eternal life. Wait, wasn't Yeshua the one that was asking for water?
At this point, Jane asked Yeshua to give her some of his water. Yeshua asked her to go and bring back her family. Jane, knowing her people's history, responds, "I can see that you're a prophet. Our fathers worshiped on this mountain, but you people say that the place where one has to worship is in Jerusalem." Then Yeshua told the woman, "The time is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You people don't know what you are worshiping. We worship what we do not know because salvation comes from the Jews. But the time is coming indeed, it's here now, when true worshipers will worship the Father spiritually and truly. For these are the kind of people the Father wants to wants worshiping him." God's is spirit, and worshipers must worship him spiritually and truly. Jane then told us that she knows that the Mashiach is on his way.
Okay, according to her testimony to us, and we are not reporting this as a quote, I just want to make that clear. It's Jane's testimony, not ours. We didn't actually hear Yeshua say this, but Jane tells us at this point in the conversation, Yeshua responds to her statement that the Mashiach is coming soon. I, the person speaking to you, am he.
Well, in my recollection, Mark, this is the first time Yeshua actually states, confirms, alleges, affirms the allegations we've already heard from the others that he is, in fact, the Messiah.
I'm with you, Sandi. This road ahead for Yeshua will be a rough one once he publicly declares this comment. I know he professed it in private to this woman, but if she is privy to it along with the entire town of Shechem, and his Talmudim are not publicly disputing it, well, here we go.
So, Jane, I have such a hard time really calling her that. According to Jane, once Yeshua claimed membership, for lack of a better word, she went back and proclaimed, and I quote what she said to us: "Come see a man who told me everything I've ever done. Could it be that this is the Messiah?"
Well, yielding to the townspeople's persistent request, Yeshua stayed in Shechem 2 days. Many of Shechem's inhabitants told Sandi and I the same story over and over again. They said, "We no longer trust because of what James said, because we have heard for ourselves. We know that indeed this man really is the savior of the world." What do you think, Sandi? Are these people dazed and confused? Have they been led astray? These are not the only people we've met who've given the same deposition to this man's vocation. What do you think, Sandi?
Well, if I might quote a good friend of mine who has very good judgment concerning another's character,
Yeah.
well, the jury's still
And
out. Yes, the jury is still out.
thank you all for joining us for another edition of Newscasting Ancient Times.
Have a blessed day.
Man, I like that intro.
I love it, but I actually have a teaching that might gives a whole new perspective on this woman. I haven't done it in years, but
Uh-huh.
yep.
Uh-huh.
So
I'd
I
like
would
to
say
hear
it's
that.
probably been 6 years since I taught it last.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. That would be a good one. I've always that story always stands out to everybody anyway.
Mhm.
And as far as different stories in the gospel, but that was one that I think I could have wrote all kinds of different places from and added a lot of different things to it, but that's the way it came out. So here it is, and I'm sure enjoying these every
It's
time I get done with one of these.
yes,
All
me
right, well,
too.
that was the best one ever. Well, no, they're all good.
They're all good. They're all really good,
I,
and it's fun. It's
yeah,
I love the series. I'll just say that.
yeah, I do too. I've already been talking to some people that haven't heard it and are real interested in hearing that. So eventually, I will segment all of these out and put it all in a discourse. Maybe you can watch it on the website or something I'll put together. But I have a feeling with as many stories as there are for us to write into this series, it's going to be a while till this one is done, this series.
Oh, I agree. If ever, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've considered different ways to go with it. So anyway,
I have a
hey,
very go ahead.
no, I'm just going to say we're chapter 22 this show. So
22.
22 since we've revamped the whole uh, planet and chapter and all of those different things. So,
22 shows. I have a question for you. It's very, very important. Are you one who deletes things off your phone or other devices, or do you just let them sit there?
uh, well, that's a good question. Off my computer, I'm good at it.
What about your phone?
My phone, I just got a new phone,
Oh,
as a matter of fact. And no, not really phone because I don't use it for anything more than having a device, a communication device handy, for phone calls or people text me or an email comes in and I'm not sitting here in the studio, then it comes in on my phone. But quite honestly, I just don't use my phone for much else.
Well, I'm one. There's 52% of us have never deleted anything from our devices. Just how much old information is sitting in your smartphone? A survey finds 52% of us never deleted files, apps, or anything else, including texts or phone calls from the device. Another 33% said they have files on their phone or other devices that are 10 or more years old. I will say this, I do delete. I'll go through and I will delete some things, texts from specific people because there's so many. But
Uh-huh.
I always want to go through and delete all the list of phone calls and
Uh-huh.
previous texts, and I never. It takes so much time. I just don't do it. So I can't say I've never deleted. So I'm not part of that group, but I don't delete very often. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm one of the many, I guess.
Well, when I was buying this new phone last week, and I was in the store, and we're my provider, and I'm she's setting up my phone, and she said, uh, she says, don't you ever take pictures? And it's like, well, yeah, every once in a while, very rarely. And it's like, first thought went to my when we were in Oklahoma for Thanksgiving. My daughter, I think, was saying she had like 1,000 something photos on her phone, and it's like I may have 4 or 5, you
Oh, I
know.
do have pictures on my phone.
Well, but see, I just don't, I just don't use it for stuff anyway. I'll tell you the number one thing though of deleting, and that's emails. Okay, so another word, but I don't delete them. I move them over into folders so
Um,
that they don't stack up in my
Inbox.
inbox, where you can see them. And I have a massive amount of folders. And so I drag this one over here. And so sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say I do the same thing. There are some I delete, but then most of the stuff I move to folders because I like to have very few messages in my inbox.
Uh-huh,
Now, John is just the opposite. I
uh-huh,
recovered his Pastor John email because he hadn't gotten in it for a while. Uh-oh.
uh-huh.
And I might have to leave momentarily to plug some things in. And there was over 43,000 emails. You know what I did for the next few hours? This is the kind of
I
person
love
I
it.
am. I'm so nice. I
I
went
love
in
it.
and deleted. I went through and made some folders for some, and then I deleted. I got it down to like 7,000. Now I have
I
that's
love it.
been a week, so I don't know what it's going to look like now. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it
That's
is bad.
amazing.
43,000
I
emails.
it, how I just I don't know. I'm looking at my email over here, and it says that 8.55 gigabytes of 15 gigabytes used. So half of 15, 7.5. So it's a little over half of all the gigabytes that I have to use. And so anyway, I used up that many, I guess. And but it's funny, when I set up new people that are going to come on to Lamb, I always kind of explain to them that when you're communicating with me, and Sandy knows this, I just don't do text. I do, I'll get it and I'll see it, but 90% of the time I don't respond right away to that text. Now that text is gone to me. It's still in my phone, but I'm probably not going to see it again because I just don't go back and say, oh, I need to answer these texts, whereas I do in email. So I tell everybody, just don't text me if it's important at all. You have to do email with me. And I have let it kind of build up at a couple times when I'm real busy and just don't have the time. but for the most part, I clear those out. Deleting is a whole nother story. I don't, if I think I'm going to need it. As a matter of fact, I told somebody the other day, I have emails from 12 years ago. 12 years ago, because they're in there, and who knows?
Yeah, it's the same. I do too. And here's the thing. I am the same way about text in that no, I do text, but if I'm meeting with someone, on the phone with someone, ministering to someone, or in the middle of something, I'm not going to see that text. Or if I do, I may look at it, but I don't have time to answer. And so time goes on and the day's busy and I forget that I don't, it's just out of sight, out of mind. And so there may be several texts and I never responded to. So I'm the same way on that. Very
Yeah,
close anyway, very similar.
yeah. You and I have noticed a lot of similar things that we
Yeah,
do. Type A personalities, and having to organize and keep track of things. And hey, I'm fine with my life. I have nothing to regret. I'm good, so
well,
let's put it this way, there's no strife. And
that's a teaser, folks. Well, I have something that's in a totally different direction. I got made fun of yesterday just as a joke. Yes. I have been building a stage at Life of Worship, and my family are really the only people that have shown up to help on Sunday, the first day of the week. I had my mother, my brother, my sister, her, and my brother-in-law, and myself and John. And then yesterday, my brother and my brother-in-law showed up, and me, and I consequently have blisters on my thumbs and things because, or on the corner, because I was running that drill so much. And my brother said, so I need to take a picture so people know that you know how to use power tools. And of course I rolled my eyes. I was like, I know how to use power tools except saws. He was
uh-huh,
making fun of me.
uh-huh,
But he is the brother that it was when I came home from college from Oral Roberts, I think I might have been 18, 19. He
uh-huh,
said I shrunk my hair, and he tried to convince me that he shrunk his hair. Dry sense of humor, extremely hilarious. Yeah,
uh-huh,
it's that brother. It's my only brother. My
uh-huh,
only blood brother. Andy's my brother too, but
uh-huh.
yeah. So he was like, I need to take a picture of this because I was on my knees on that stage, putting all the screws in so it was firm. And the guys were over there doing the wood and cutting it up well, they did some too. So, but I'm the shortest, so it only makes sense that I get on my knees and put those screws in that stage.
Well, my only response to this, and I've actually been thinking about this lately, and a lot of other things that I've come across, and just lately, as a matter of fact, is double standards on so many different things that in our life that I don't think a lot of us realize that we have these double standards in our day-to-day thinking. So I mean, the idea that women, just in general, not you, but women in general, just don't know how to use power tools, or they shouldn't even try, they're too delicate, they're too, I don't know what the two whatever, but the fact that no, it's for men, and men should be the only ones using power tools and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's been shows and videos where women want to use power tools. They want to, they look to go, show me how to do it. And of course, the older that I get and the less ability I have for doing physical work. And I'm 68. That's still young, I know. And in here, I'm still 30. I have
I
all
would
the
agree that
ability
with
to
that
do.
in that statement, Mark. In there, you're still 30. So.
I am in there. I'm still 30, and I'll be 30 till the day I die. But because I'm anyway, my body. I'm learning because I'm doing work around the house right now, a little warmer, and can do it. And I get wore out real quick. But there's things that I can't do, and things that frustrate me. Those type of things. But it my wife wants to learn power tools, and she uses power tools from time to time. I think the scariest thing is probably saws. Are you kind of a little scared of
Yeah,
you
I've never used a saw. Okay, I've used a
skill
regular saw, not a power
skill
tool saw.
skill saw?
Yeah,
Oh, you mean a
I've
you mean
used an old-fashioned saw. Yeah, but
a
I've
hand
not.
saw?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but
do electric saws kind of scare you a little bit?
well, I don't know if they. I guess maybe, but I was looking at like them doing it this weekend, and I was like, well, I can do that. That's not a
Uh-huh.
big deal.
Uh-huh.
And so, part of it, I think, is women don't get the opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
do agree. I
yeah,
really do.
so, and I have to say this, I have to give some credit here. I have discovered, I really haven't been around my brother much. Oh, since I went to college. So 1984. And spending this time with him, I will say my brother and Andy are geniuses, and they probably follow along with you because you can do the same thing. You're one who can look and say, well, we need to do this and this and this and this and this. And when it comes to stereotypes, I'm not blessed that way. Like when it was, we need to place these and do this, and I just looked at it, and then my brother would just rattle off, here's the numbers, you give him
Yeah.
something and he'd have
Yeah.
numbers just in 1 second.
Right.
And so
Right.
I will say that they are geniuses. That's all I have to say about
I,
that.
there's construction savvy. I was in construction for,
Yeah.
I lost track of how many years. I mean, I literally went into $1 million homes and did all the woodwork of the whole inside
Wow.
of the house. Matter of fact, I could go. Of course, we did work and everything, but when it got time to put the baseboard down, everybody knows what baseboard is.
Mhm.
Okay, if you can imagine a, let's just say, 20-room house. Okay, I can start at a certain point, and I've done this. I would even say 100 times. Is I'll start at a certain point in the house, and I have a list. I have a list. I have a paper list, and I'll start and I'll write down the measurement for that one. I'll write down the measurement for that one, and then just go through the entire house in my list. Sit at, or stand at my saw and cut the entire list with a mistake factor of maybe two or three or four mistakes on the list, and do an entire 20-room house of doing that. That really is a construction savvy, and a lot of that comes from having done it over and over and over again. If you're doing those things. But I mean, we didn't buy cabinets, we built the cabinets from scratch, and every block paneling and everything. I mean, I get stories upon stories. But literally, women don't have a different mentality. I disagree with that. I just don't think they've had the opportunities. And I know women carpenters, along with every other profession. There are women that do most all professions anymore. It's
Mhm.
just, are they allowed to do it? Is there a double standard within our thought patterns, or the boss who's hiring the people?
Right.
So it's not that they're geniuses. They've just done this enough times, and probably have the construction savvy to walk in and say, okay, this is what we need to do. I would be able, I'd walk in, where do you want it? Okay, this is what we need to do.
And I agree. I haven't been around my brother in so many years to just watch it. He
Yeah.
used rattling off that impressed me. And when he was a kid, he tore apart his first engine his first motor when he was 4 years old. He
I love
deals with
it. I
dyslexia,
love it.
so he has a hard time that way. But when he's 8, 9, 10 years old, you go into the backyard and he would have these engineering structures. This happens here and this goes here, and because he could
Uh,
look at
uh,
something and just know. And
uh-huh,
where me, I'm smart, but I'm book smart.
uh-huh. Yeah,
And
yeah,
Michael is just my brother is just naturally. I
yeah.
mean, if he probably could have been an engineer easily.
Engineer. He's got
Yeah,
an engineer. Yep.
yeah, he does. He
Got
does.
it.
He's a mechanic.
Yep.
So, but he could have been an engineer. There's nothing wrong with that because that's what my dad was and all of that. But
Sure.
I'm just impressed. I'm enjoying getting to know my brother again
That's
after,
good. I love it.
yeah, after
Well, you
3
know, you
decades.
were laid up for a long time and had to read or had to do books and that type
Yeah,
thing. So you kind of developed that probably a little more than
yeah.
if you hadn't been, you might have been out there with your brother doing stuff and
I don't know.
learning.
Well, my brother and I were actually inseparable up until,
Yeah.
and my sister, but we
Uh-huh.
were we were always together until high school, and
Mhm.
then he got a different group of friends and
Yeah.
got into some other things. So, yeah.
My brother and sister were 8 and 9 years older than me. And so by the time I even was able to comprehend that I had a brother and sister, they were like, we don't want to have anything to do with this kid. You know, we're already in our teens and we're doing our teen life. And, you know, the little brother, you know, is a
He's a pain.
is a hazard. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, you were talking about your brother and engine. Now my dad, I could do all of that, but I was more electronics. So when I was the age you were talking about, I was tearing apart radios and record
Mhm.
players and tape recorders and everything to see how they worked and if I could put them back together and make them work and you know that kind of thing. Engines I wasn't interested in, but anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well, all I could say is when we were young, the 3 of us did everything together. All
yeah,
3 of us, we were
yeah.
3 kids. Mom had 3 kids. I'm the oldest, and we were always all 3 together. So,
And I'm the youngest of my family.
yeah.
It's just you know it's just the dynamic of it all. I learned a new expression the other day. Like
What's
this.
that? What
It's
what's
like it's what the kids say when just saying.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
just saying.
Yeah, that right now, that takes too much effort, not doing that. So,
I found myself doing it quite often anymore when Donna and I are talking about something and I just want to make my point and I'm going,
uh,
you know,
okay.
the lady across the street, I got her doing it now. And
So now it's like it's contagious, right?
I think it's a millennial expression. Just saying. So here I got another one for you. Have you have you ever seen the word written out INNIT?
No. In it?
Just
Tell
say
me.
it. Just say it. INNIT. Just
In
say
it.
the word in it.
In it. In it.
In it. Right?
Oh, isn't it? Isn't it that way? Isn't it?
That's right. Exactly. The in Britain, it's a word. It
Seriously.
is and it means just isn't it? But it's spelled out like that and more and more and more on because I have to wear hearing aids and it's still a little sketchy. When I watch movies and TV shows and stuff, a lot of times I have the closed captions on. And more and more and more and more that word pops up, not only in British shows or movies, but here in America it started to be a
Never
word.
noticed it. Never
Yeah,
noticed it.
you probably wouldn't notice it unless you saw it written out when people say it, like in the closed captions and in it. And
Mm.
and they say it that way in it. You know, uh, I need to go over here, or I did this, and I don't know. I can't even think of an expression now, but it means isn't it or isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, we almost say isn't it, and there is no D in.
Yeah.
It
You know,
annihilated the language.
I'm going to have to respond to Joe said, my brother's almost completely blind and he still uses power tools, LOL, with guidance. Okay. My brother had a bungee cord take out his left eye. Andy, because of his brain surgery, has his missing. He's not missing his right eye, but it doesn't function as of right now. So both of them, between both of them, they only had two eyes. Okay, I just had to say that because my brother's eye, a bungee cord got it. And so
Okay.
it doesn't function. Andy had brain surgery, so his right eye doesn't
Right.
function. So
Yeah.
they both we had one set of eyes.
That's great. I love it. I love it.
I had to respond to Joe because she said that. I was like, yeah, because they talked about it. I was like, yeah, because they have problems with depth perception right now because it
I'm
takes too long.
sure. I'm sure.
And so I had to, okay, sorry.
Well, no, as you can see, and you know that I'm missing.
There's a little bit missing with Mark because of,
Yeah. And as power tools, you know, that's a whole story in itself. But yeah, because of power tools, and just I still use the same tools that I did this on. Matter of fact, just yesterday I was using the same tool that this happened on. So you get used to it, you know, and that's usually the problem is you get used to it and you're not as aware of things going on, and then wham bam, there it goes. All right. Okay, well, we're well over our time here. You ready for your second, third there?
as ready as I can be, I guess.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet, dancing in the streets of gold. We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet.
All right. This week's topic is strife. Strife. We've all experienced it. We've all been a part of it or something. What is strife? Strife is that yelling, that screaming, that arguing, or sometimes even worse, the silent treatment or ignoring or or walking into a room. Have you ever walked into a room and you could feel the strife in the room? You could feel that tension. Well, most of us have been a part of that or are a part of that at one point and another. Maybe you're not a screamer and a yeller, but still tensions can get high when you disagree about something with your spouse, with your kids, with a friend, with a boss, with a coworker. We could go on the list. The dictionary describes strife as bickering, arguing, a heated disagreement, or an angry undercurrent. But the most dangerous form of strife is an angry undercurrent because it's not quite just out there where everybody can see it. We all know what's going on. Usually that's temporary. Usually the passionate voice is a temporary thing. But when there's this undercurrent, it can go on and on and on, and it can ruin relationships. You can feel it in the atmosphere. Something's not right. And maybe you know it's not right, or there's this distance that you don't even know about that's between you and who was once a friend. It's not quite clear that everything's that everything's okay, because it's not okay. So maybe you're one who has been angry and you walk around and you just completely ignore the other person. You have this alternative activity that you sort of run to, but you make a point of it. So everything is slamming and over exaggerated. So the other person gets the message. Well, the only person that's getting affected and hurt is you. And honestly, well, in a way, both of you, I guess, or both of us, or all of us, because what does the enemy want to do? He wants to steal, kill, and destroy. And the easiest and fastest way to do that is to divide us from one another. He works endlessly. Hasatan works endlessly to create strife in our lives, to create offense, that turns into bitterness and hate and so many other things. And it happens in businesses, it happens in congregations, it happens in school, it happens in the most important relationships of your life. Why does he do it? Because he knows when you are unified, that you're powerful in Yah's kingdom. If you're walking in shalom, if you're walking in peace and unity, then much can be accomplished. But if you're divided, you fall, and so does everything else. Psalm 133:1 says, how good and pleasant it is when God's people, when Yah's people dwell together in unity. Well, okay. Why? Because there's something that happens when we're all working together, when there's that shalom, that we function as a body. The body is healthy, the body is strong, and therefore operates optimally. There's an anointing that comes in the power and the presence of the Ruach HaKodesh to do our jobs, to raise our kids, to be a wife, to be a husband, to do all the things that Yah's asked us to do. So let's look at strife in the Hebrew. Strife, Medan. I want you to think about Joseph and his brothers. There was discord and there was strife. And that's where you look to see, what does that exactly mean then? Since there was this strife going on, what's going on here? Well, it can mean a discord or a quarrel that can be stopped, that can't be stopped once it gets going, that Medan. But it is actually a word for endless arguments and bitterness. And why do I say endless? Because I said before, when you allow that spirit of strife into your life, all of a sudden there's offense, and then there's bitterness, and then there's you hate, and you can go on and on, because it builds and it builds, and all of a sudden the relationships are broken and they're never the same again, all because oftentimes it's something silly, some misunderstanding. And that's not good, because then you turn into that one in Proverbs 16:9, a false witness who utters lies and spreads strife among brothers. How do I mean that? There's a progression when you look at that scripture on what we're doing to destroy relationships, and ultimately it ends in that, when you're separating brothers. Well, what's an example of separating brothers? Well, ultimately we can think of Joseph and his brothers, and both are at fault. He was young and said things he shouldn't have said. He was maybe there was some arrogance in it, and his brothers had, because of that, responded in treachery, and it destroyed a family for years and years. Yes, was that God's plan? Yes, it was. So do we give that as our excuse? Well, we can be in strife because maybe it's God's plan. No, it's not. But Yah knows what we're going to do, and he uses that. Both sides contributed to the tension there. Strife is not how Yah intended us to live. It's not how he intended us to be. He wants harmony. He wants unity. He wants us as his children to be peacemakers. Yeshua left us with a peace that's beyond this world. Yes, he did. And we still act as though we're like Joseph and his brothers. And here's what's sad, because we're fighting so much in amongst ourselves, whether it's in our families or in our communities, in our congregations, that we fail to look at the real things, that the real enemy, which is not flesh and blood. We've talked about that. And it's out there, because if he can distract us to look inward, then we're no good outwardly. Let's get rid of strife. So what good is it? It's not good. We need to try to stay away from it, to avoid it, to be the peacemakers, to say, I'm sorry, or ask for forgiveness, even if you're not in fault. Is there anything wrong with that? And I know we've had a conversation on the word sorry. Apologize, if that's a better word. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be you. It's just that your goal is to create unity so you can be used in the kingdom. So you both, or the parties that are at hand, can be used in the kingdoms. And the word says to go make it right with your brother. Because when there's something that happened, that there was strife in a relationship, years later, the strife, or that moment, that those incidences that created it, they can still hurt. Not because you're a victim necessarily, because there's no victims when you're spreading strife, but because you're still, that moment has become a part of you. Strife is like this weed in a garden. It propagates itself until everything is choked out. I think of bindweed. I do not know how to get rid of bindweed here in the Panhandle of Texas. Its roots go feet deep, if not more. And it just comes up and it spreads. If you pull it, it spreads more. And it will wrap itself around anything and choke the life out of it. It's weed. Well, that's what strife does. Strife destroys. It destroys and it brings forth death in all sorts of things, relationships and families and communities and congregations and so much, even vision and what Yah wants you to do. We've got to walk away from that strife, because it seems that most of life's behavioral ills have the same cure. What is it? It's Yeshua. It's his Torah. So if you haven't been in strife for a while, but there's that something that stemmed from that all those years ago, and your relationship with that person has not been the same, that weed is dormant, but it's still active. That incident, that conversation, that hurt is dormant, but it's still active. And it's always going to be there until you dig it out, until you offer it to Yah, till you bring forth, get deliverance. And it it's a sacrifice. It's got to be burnt up. So let 1 Peter 3:11 says, pursue. Do not merely desire peaceful relations with Yah and with your fellow men and with yourself, but pursue or go after peaceful relationships that are built strongly upon his word, peaceful relationships where all the parties are walking in that shalom. Well, I want to look at the word pursue just real quick. Pursue, Radaf, number 7291 in your Strong's Concordance. It means to pursue or to chase and even persecute, this Radaf. But it's also usually a term that refers to a man or a group pursuing for another purpose of taking revenge or war. But it also has this idea of a bride pursuing her groom, or vice versa. There's pursuit. The TWOT says, in the well-known phrase from Psalm 23, God blessing itself is said to follow. Which is not as strong enough for the sense of the root there. It should be more active. Only goodness and mercy shall pursue me. And we've talked about that in Walking in Spirit of Truth, what that truly means, going after, chasing down till you take over. Are we chasing after peace in our lives, or do we like to sit in the hurt? Do we like to sit and dwell in what has happened in our past, or who did what? Well, the answer is honestly yes. People carry those hurts for so long, and it just destroys and it ruins what you could do in the kingdom. We've got to make this effort, this true effort, and take action to chase after, to pursue, to radaf, to go after peace in relationships, removing strife from our families, from our friendships, from congregations, from all the areas of our lives, from our jobs. Because if we're really going to pursue shalom, if we're really going to pursue peace, we can't wait around for everyone to come and apologize to us. That's silly. That is just plain silly, because then you're sitting waiting around because you think you were wrong. Well, you know what? Probably the other party thinks they were wrong too. And so you're sitting there, and this silence becomes this chasm where nobody seems willing to cross. Chasing after shalom, chasing after peace means you're going to resolve issues quickly and apologize when you do not feel like it. That Hebrew word for follow is also there. Follow and radaf, they're the same thing, that pursuing. And again, I'm going to give this example, just a relational example. In the Civil War, at the beginning of the Civil War, many of the wives would follow their husbands and stay in the tents as he moved from place to place. Even though he was soldiering, she wanted to be with him wherever he went. That's radaf. That's pursuing. Now, that might not have lasted the whole Civil War, but at the beginning, these women would do the duties they normally did, but they so longed the presence of their husband, their bridegroom, that they would chase after him. Their motivation was out of love. Well, our motivation should be out of love for one another. So we pursue that shalom. We follow, we pursue it, chase after it, seek after it. Just as Yah's chasing after us, looking for that harmony, looking for that relationship healing, because unity is where we need to be as Yah's people. Unity is where we need to be as his bride. Unity is so important, but the enemy does not want it. He does not want it. Romans 12:16 says, live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but readily adjust yourself to give yourselves an humble task. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Don't be conceited. We are supposed to live in peace, and that's going to require us to take responsibility even for our own thoughts, because what we think is our mind is a womb, and it will be birthed in our actions and our deeds. And therefore, if we have that strife, if there's something going on, then we are going to we are going to act differently than we would if that thing wasn't in the back of the mind, if that history wasn't there. Walk in shalom. Walk in shalom. We're going to have to humble ourselves and do some adapting and some adjusting and pursue, chase after that peace, removing strife. And that's going to bring forth light. That's going to bring forth life in relationship, and that's going to restore his kingdom. Mark.
Here I am.
There you are.
Hmm. What are we talking about? Strife.
Strife and yes, strife.
Really? That's still a thing today?
It definitely is.
Okay, made some notes. Chasing after peace. Wow, what a great expression. Did you come up with that, or did you find that somewhere?
I don't know. With all the studying I did, I might have seen her. I might have put some words together in my own words, but it's what we need to do.
Wow, that's the poster that needs to be in every room, in every synagogue, in every congregation, in every church, everywhere. That, you know, in every building in the world, they should have a poster that says "Chase after peace."
Chase after peace.
That's good. I like that a lot. Okay, effort takes effort.
Yeah.
Why should it take effort? Shouldn't it just be commonplace for us if we notice that? And really what it comes down to is just disagreements. You disagree with what I say or think or do, and you you may not verbalize it, but you may show that you disagree with something that someone has done. You show it. It's obvious that there's a disagreement. I don't go along with whatever you're wanting to do, and to me, there's nothing wrong with those things. It's when you don't address it. I think that's where strife, that is the birth of strife, is addressing something that you know is out of place with another person, with a relationship. And of course, you and I, we know each other. We don't get to be together, hang around each other that much, but we've done enough shows, or we've, talked online, that type of thing, that I know I have said things that either should have offended you, or maybe it did offend you, or something like that. And I think I always come to you and say, was that offensive? Do you remember some things like I've said on Reason, on John's show? And
No.
there's all of us there, and I say some things, and later I'm like, yeah, no, that wasn't right. But I always try to come to you or whoever and email you and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have probably gone there. And I know I've done that to you.
I don't. If you have, I don't even
Well,
remember.
there you go.
I don't even remember it. So
that's the whole deal right there. That's the difference in it, and that should be our everyday walk of life, is that we just go on like that. But see, there's no effort in that. If our mindset is that I'm just not going to allow that to offend me, or yeah, I really didn't like that, but I'm choosing to, what is it? Choosing after peace. See? And so then there's no effort in that, but I give you a little background. My mom, God rest her soul, I miss my mom so much. My mom was offended by the littlest thing, and she would never talk to you or the people she knew or anything like that. It was literally grudge city, and she didn't really talk about it too much until it was whatever it was brought up. As say, let's just say that one of her friends at work offended her by saying something, and that's good enough. And that she would come home and she'd be mad, and we'd ask her about it, and it's nothing, but we knew what the deal was, and then she'd start talking about it, and then she'd tell you what the deal was, but unless you asked her about it, and I mean the whole rest of the family, just our whole lives, we kind of knew what areas to go and where not to go. But my point on this is the way I was raised, okay? Means that this was my mindset that was instilled in me growing up, is that if you are offended or you disagree with somebody in relationships, then you hold that in, because basically my mom didn't like the confrontations, and so she kind of instilled in us not to want confrontations and to be offended and hold it in and hold grudges. And I've lived most of my life like that. Now the effort to me today is I have to recognize that and get past that, but it is an effort for me, because I have to address that in my life. And I don't want to, but I do have to, because it's just at 68 years old, I'm still dealing with things that I was taught when I was 8 years old. See? And so I understand this and I see it. I am a part of that. But on the other side of that same story is now my wife, who though we may have a disagreement or an argument or something, and we've had our share of them, it wouldn't be but minutes to an hour that it's gone. It's just not there. I mean, it's just like she's got past that. Very, 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 very few times in the years that we've been married have I ever known her to just be kind of not happy about something, and keep it going, or something. Some of the kid, or one of the kids did something that she just really doesn't like, so you can tell that that's bothering her, but pretty much life goes on. Well, that was a little hard for me to deal with when we first got together. It was like, you did something that I didn't like. Okay, now I'm going to be mad for the next 4 or 5 days. But she wasn't. She's not going to be mad, and I'm living with her. And so how do I deal with this? You're not mad every day. The life's going on every day, but I'm upset with this situation, and I don't want the confrontation, but, we can talk about this. As far as she was concerned, fine, we've dealt with it. We had an argument, disagreement. Now I'm going on with life, and I'm not. She's going on with life, but I'm not. So I had to learn. If I'm going to keep this relationship going, I had to put the effort in. She didn't have to. but I had to put that effort in there. And as of today, um, uh, I've learned to not let it ride, you know, to choose peace and not let it ride. But then maybe at a later time we'll talk about it, or maybe we need to talk about it right then and there and try to get it out. The only problem is that especially with husbands and wives, wives are set on this is the way that it has to be, and husbands are set on no, this is the way it has to be. And maybe there's never really a compromise there, but there's no strife. You just have to go on and not allow the strife to keep going. And so I have constantly said I'm a better man because I have learned through my wife to be a certain way, and it has helped me in a lot of different ways. And of course, she's no big deal with her, but so I've lived through it my entire life. I understand strife. I've been there. I've done that. All that kind of stuff. So that's my take on it. I've lived through it. Okay. I've gotten around it. I'm on the and I'm on the other side.
Awesome.
So, that good enough for you?
Sounds great to me.
Okay. All right.
I think that pretty much does it for that for our snippet of topic. So
A snippet of topic.
well, I could preach for an hour and do a lot more, but that's not this show.
You got a little practice at preaching for an hour, don't you?
I got that down. So I usually have to work to make sure I can keep it under an hour. And you've been anyway.
Yeah, we're there. We're there. Very good. Well, great. Once again, good topic, Sandy. Thanks. All right, let's go to third.
We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet, dancing in the streets of gold. We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet.
So, did you notice my hair's getting longer again?
I have noticed that. I have noticed it.
I've got to get it cut and shaped up a little bit, but it's never going back to the length that it was before because it's just too hard for an old man to take care of. So I don't know how you women do it. I really don't know how you do it. So, there's just let me ask you a quick question. So at night, do you put it like in a ponytail to sleep? Huh?
I have always you've seen me with that clip in my hair. That's mostly how my hair always is in that clip.
But I mean, at night when you go to bed, you put the clip in there, so
that clip is still there.
Okay. Because that was my deal is that my hair was so long, I'd lay on it on my shoulder, or I'd wake up because it's all wrapped around or something, and I just couldn't handle it. So I don't know. I got to get it shaped up. I like it long. I like it this length right here, but it's a mess right now. I've often wanted to put together a montage video because Donna and I make videos out of our old videos, and I see, especially I don't know, there's a couple of them that I see my hair change and I think if I would just go back week to week to week to week, I could see all the different changes to it. But anyway, I'd like to do that sometime.
I would love that. I wish that I would have already done this, but get all the old video from the VCRs or those little tapes that were in the little cameras.
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh,
wish I could get it all converted to
uh-huh.
digital or something DVD, something that would keep, but
Yeah.
time.
There's software out there where you can hook it up to the machine and into your computer. And I did that. I turned a lot of our old VHS movies into.
You'll have to tell me off the show. You'll have to let me know the software because I need
Okay.
to do that.
Okay. I'll put it together for you
Sounds
sometime,
good.
someday.
Someday, sometime.
All right. Good. What do you want to do first here on our?
I was just going by your schedule that you sent me.
Yeah. Okay. So focusing in on Torah. What do you got?
Well, we're going to look at Exodus 19:8. So we're going to be in Torah this time, not the Brit, not anywhere else. We're going to be in
Okay.
Torah. And we're going to look okay, before I even say this, it's funny because it all came together one more time, but not on purpose. Because it says, then all the people answered together and said, all that Yehovah has spoken, we will do. So Moshe, brought back the words of the people to Yah. So here we know that the commandments are really sort of like a mission statement. They're a purpose. They're our ketubah. A ketubah is what's promised in our marriage, so to speak. And it's honestly, it brings us, we're under one law. So it brings us together as one people. Unity, strife, unity, one people. And so we have this shared purpose and this community idea. It actually defines our community because we're living under these instructions. This is our life. So couples, families, congregations, businesses, sports teams, they rally around a shared purpose or goal. So the mountain made this possible. Yah's commands, that fire, that these words of Yah that we said I do to made it possible so that we can live as one people. And because we all said, I do, we were just like the bride. We are the bride. I do. Easier said than done sometimes. They were of one heart and they were eager to enter into his covenant with Yeshua, with Yah, who delivered them. So they were together. I want us to look at this word. It's yakdav, and its root is yachad, which we've heard that, which means united. We know ichad means one. Our God is ichad. He is one. So here we have these ideas one more time on how important unity is, to be and to act as one people, not a whole bunch of people. I remember one of the things John has always talked about, said, he hasn't said it recently in recent times, but when there's something going on in our congregation and then some people go off to the back to have another conversation, he says that's division. That's two visions. We need one vision. And if this is the word from Yah, then we need to sit down and hear it and come together. And it's that same idea. We've got to operate as one. So the Israelites are leaning towards obedience and service in a community and putting it into action. But unity is the perfect will of the Father. Walking without strife is his perfect will. And we've got to work towards it. And Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keeps the Torah, happy is he. He who keeps God's instruction is happy. We know Acts 2:42 says, and they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, in the breaking of bread and in prayers. Then fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs that were done throughout the apostles. Now all who believed were together. It's what I wanted to get at. And there's more to that scripture, but they were operating together. And guess what? When we're operating together, signs and wonders are going to follow. Our purposes are going to be fulfilled. We need to be of one mind and one heart. And you see that in Acts 4:32. All who believed were of one heart and one soul. And you see it in Romans 16:3. And it says, likewise, greet the assembly that is their house. But before that, it says, I give thanks, but also the assemblies of the Gentiles likewise. But we're talking about this one mind and one purpose, one vision to spread the news of God. And we see it at the very beginning right here as the commands were given. It was really a commandment to walk in unity together so we can do what he wants us to do. And we're just focusing in on that one little part.
Wow. Good. Yeah, good. You started straight out with all that you say we will do, and it flows into what else you talked about there. But jumping back to that, isn't that really what we all do when we make the decision to stop walking with the world and start walking with God's lifestyle? Is what we say. But how long does that last?
Not long.
For most people, it's like the 10-year-old kid at the First Baptist Church that came down for the altar call and said the little prayer with the pastor and stood up with the pastor, as raised your hands and said, now he's saved, and then the 10-year-old kid just goes right back into everyday life. And we've both taught on this many times, I'm sure, but it's kind of, even adults do this. It's like, for whatever reason that we make this decision, and it's the emotion of it all, the original emotion of it all, saying, everything you say, Lord, I will do. Show me what you want me to do. And
But we do that even after that subsequent time, because all of a sudden we're like, man, I've messed up. I'm going to be on fire. I'm going to be in my word. I'm going to do. And that lasts a week or two or a month. And then life gets in the way and we stop that passion. When you come from Sukkot, you're so excited after the Feast of Tabernacles, and you've had this life-changing experience, this unity among brothers and sisters, and that excitement lasts for a little bit, then it wears off. But it's up to us. It goes back to scripture. We're the ones that are to stoke the fire. We're the ones that have to make the effort to stay in unity. We're the ones that have to make the effort to walk in his commands, because everybody, most people I know, no matter what title they give themselves, are still picking and choosing somewhat what they're going to do and what they're not going to do.
Feelings, nothing more than feelings.
Thank you, Mark, for that serenade.
Good one. All right, so let's do some top 10. We'll be right back. Okay, I need to make a better intro.
It needs to be a little bit longer.
I put that together real quick a week or two ago. So Sandi and I have started kind of a new thing that we're enjoying doing, and this is the Battle of the Top 10. Used to be all our past shows and everything we used to do. Sandi brought a top 10 in, and we did it and had fun with it. And I said, well, I want to do a top 10. So we got to this point. So, but we're not going to tell you or each other what is the top 10 of. And so we have to try to do this. I think you started last time.
You started last time. I started the first time.
Okay, go ahead. It's your turn.
All right. The first one we're going to look at: spends all day at a fast food restaurant, seeing how long it will take until your free refills cost money.
Say it again. Start off. I missed the first.
Spend all day at a fast food restaurant, seeing how long it will take until your free refills cost money.
Top 10 dough balls of history.
Nope.
Top 10 idiots of history. What do idiots do all day? I don't know. Okay. My number 10 is Vladimir Putin.
Top 10 world leaders.
Nope. Not it. All right.
Okay.
You're number 9.
When attending a movie you've already seen, yell out, "Don't let him in! He's the killer!"
First of all, I would never attend a movie that I've already seen in a theater. Not going to happen. So, but okay, top 10 jerks of all time. I don't know.
Nope.
Nope, not it. Okay. My number 9 is Fidel Castro.
Oh. Top 10 communist leaders.
Nope, that's not it.
Okay. When buying a goldfish in a pet store, ask the salesperson, "How often should I walk it?"
Oh, I don't know. Well, up until this point, I wouldn't have done, but I probably would have done that. That sounds like fun. I may do that.
Actually, I could hear you saying that, Mark.
I may do that today. As a matter of fact, that sounds like fun. Okay, so top 10 things that idiots think are fun.
Nope, not it.
I don't know. Is idiots in the title at all? Because it sure sounds
No,
like.
it's not.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Number 8, Caligula. Sorry.
Well, I wouldn't put Putin in that category, but men who've ruled.
No.
But see, I don't put Putin as men who've ruled badly.
Yeah, I understand. I get it. I understand. You'll get it eventually.
No, I didn't get last week's, and it should have been obvious.
Okay, you're number 7.
When in a crowded elevator, say loudly, "I hope they fixed it this time."
I'm starting to enjoy these. Top 10 things said by people who have no sense of what to do around people. I don't know.
I have to break for one word to my husband. Litter.
Yeah, fine.
There we go.
That's fine. Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
That's not it, Mark.
Yeah,
but okay. I have another one. Or it's your turn. It's your turn, right?
Oh yeah, my number 7, Genghis Khan.
So we have Genghis Khan, we have Caligula, we have Fidel Castro, and Putin.
Right.
See, I would put the 3 in one category. I'm just not sure I put Putin. So what is the top 10? If you have any ideas, John, jump in.
He's welcome to sit and play.
Oh, he's
okay. All right.
I would say top 10 people who know how to wipe out their enemies.
Yeah, could be, but it's not. All right.
All right. Next one. Beep when a large person backs up. Beep, beep, beep.
Oh man, I've already told you what these people are. Gosh, top 10. Top 10 things my brother would do.
Top 10 things your brother would do. Nope, that's not it.
That's exactly what this is. So, all right. Number 6, Vlad the Impaler.
Okay, we are talking completely bad guys. Top 10 terrible rulers, but I still wouldn't put Putin in that category.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to read you the top line explaining who this guy is, in case you've never heard of Vlad the Impaler. It says, if you have an established nickname as the Impaler, there has to be something wrong with your state of mind, and you have to be psychopathic and have psychopathic psychopathic tendencies. So, in other words, if you would ever call me Mark the Impaler, I would be a very bad guy. Anyway, so, okay, that was number 6. But
Here's the next one for me.
Uh-huh.
Make inanimate objects dance.
Make inanimate objects dance.
Yeah.
Gosh, I've just used up top 10 things that somebody with no sense would do or say. Smack him. Tell him just to sit down and join.
Yeah, he can't. So,
Okay, I just, people with no sense.
no.
Okay.
Nope. That's not it.
All right, number 5. This one's really going to throw you off. Muhammad.
Okay, I'm thinking. Muhammad, Fidel, top 10. Top 10 people who are remembered for their way of leading.
No, you're going in
the wrong direction.
Totally wrong direction. And I'm not going to give you any kind of hint because then it'll tell you where I'm going.
I'm trying.
I know.
These are just really they're bad guys. Most of them.
Let's put it this way: you're thinking worldly.
Oh.
Which is not something I would say most people say about you. Okay. All right. Well, you're number 4.
Okay. I'm still I'm still in yours. I'm sitting in yours right now.
You'll get it.
Occasionally talk to your hand. Hi. In public. Hello. How are you? I'm good.
All right. So, top 10 people documented in insane asylums. What insane asylums do? I don't know. What do people in insane asylums?
Not it.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Number 4, Benito Mussolini.
Not worldly. How do you think of these men anyway other than worldly? I don't know.
There's only 2 things, worldly or spiritual.
But I don't, none of these men are spiritual.
Okay. All right.
We have a fascist, we have communism, we have
Yeah.
which Dracula was born from. We have Genghis. I don't know.
Okay. All right. You're number 3, I guess.
Carry a duffel bag into an elevator. Wait until the elevator is full. Then ask if anyone knows how to disarm a bomb in less than 19 seconds.
I need your list when you're done. Send this one to me. Top 10 practical jokes.
No.
Practical sayings.
No.
Okay.
No.
So, number 3, Adolf Hitler.
I have to be worldly, the worst leaders ever, but I've already said that, so that's not it. Mm-hmm. The top 10 who have changed history completely. I don't know.
Nope.
It's still worldly. I don't know how to go spiritual with these guys.
I understand.
Or top 10 people who are way off spiritually, but that's not it either.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's my turn. Oh.
Yep.
Insist that someone accompany you to the public restroom because of Henry the toilet monster.
Okay. Neither one of us are going to get these.
Joe says it's against the people of God. Yours are.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, but no. That's not the top 10 list. Yours is just fun things. Top 10 fun things we think about doing, but probably would never do.
That's a good title, but no. That's funny.
Okay. My number 2 is Joseph Stalin. It sure just follows along with everybody, but okay. Well, maybe we just need to do our number ones and
All right. You actually played into number 1 a little bit ago when you sang a song right off the top of your head.
Oh, really? Okay.
Insist that life is one big musical, then try to prove your theory and randomly break into song in public, just like you did.
Feelings.
Oh, Joe says it's 10 things Sparky would do. Everybody, Sparky's my husband, John. So
okay, say the last one again.
Insist that life is just one big musical, and then try to prove your theory by randomly breaking into song.
I don't know, but we got to go. So my last one is Mao Zedong.
That's what?
Say Mao Zedong. Okay. I know I'm not pronouncing it right, but he's he killed anyway.
Top 10 killers of people, and it's worldly, so it's not right.
That's close. Okay, here's what mine is. All right, top 10 people you're most likely to meet in hell.
Oh, actually, though, Vladimir Putin has a faith, so
I know, but
the other guys, agreed. So. Mine was actually a top 15. I had to reduce it. Top or 10 ways to be annoying.
10 ways to be annoying.
Yeah.
It fits. That's good. All right. Well, another one bites the dust.
Don't.
I need to get that as our outro. All right. One quick thing, and then Sandy's going to finish it for us. See y'all next week.
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to
Be excellent to each other. It's almost like amen. I think it means whatever you want it to mean, but mostly it's just like be excellent to each other.
Just means, I think it just means to be excellent to each other, really.
Just pray, Sandy.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. And be sure to catch my show, Walking in Spirit and Truth, here on the Lamb Network every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Central. Adjust accordingly. Check the lambnetwork.tv website for a schedule when it starts in your area. If you can't figure that out, if you've enjoyed this show, then please use your audio, voice, and text machines, video phones that can be used to do 1,000 other things to invite everyone you know to the very next Flight 777, the Planet Chapter 23 on Lamb Airlines. And of course, tell them to listen 24/7 to 777 on their radio dial and watch lambnetwork.tv in their favorite browser. On behalf of Lamb Airlines and the entire crew, we would like to thank you all for joining us on Flight 777, Chapter 22. We're looking forward to seeing you on board every Thursday. Have a great day here on planet Earth. Father, go with us and make a way. Let us not walk in strife, in Yeshua's name.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.